What if the Ottoman Empire stayed neutral during the First World War? The Ottoman Empire, which was created by Osman I in 1299, was once a great empire, but was ever since the Siege of Vienna in 1683 in decline, and was commonly known as the sick man of Europe. This would culminate in 1914 when they joined the First World War in hopes of regaining lands from the Entente, especially the United Kingdom and Russia. But this backfired, and they got partitioned like an actual Turkey. Under Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, the nation was liberated and became a republic, ending 623 years of Ottoman rule. But what if that didn't happen? What if the Ottoman Empire stayed neutral in the First World War? In this timeline, the 1913 Ottoman coup d'état doesn't take place and the liberal government isn't overthrown by the Committee of Union and Progress, who would form the Three Pasha dictatorship. This also causes the First Balkan War to end earlier as the CUP continued the war effort, but the post-war borders would be the same as in our own timeline, and the Second Balkan War still takes place. In 1914, the First World War starts, and the Ottoman Empire decides to be neutral. The rest of the war is more or less like in our own timeline. Bulgaria still joins, and Serbia, Montenegro, Albania and Romania fall, with the rest being a stalemate. In 1917, the Russian Revolution and later the Russian Civil War still take place. The Ottoman Empire, seeing an opportunity, invades from the south and re-annexes Batum, Kars and Ardahan. They also occupy Armenia, Azerbaijan and Georgia. While Azerbaijan had no problem with this, Armenia and Georgia were furious. But after the Whites were defeated in the south, Armenia and Georgia had no problem with the Ottomans. But the Ottomans did help negotiate the border disputes in the area. And it ended with Azerbaijan getting everything they wanted and Lori got split between Armenia and Georgia. Furthermore, without the Three Pashas, the Armenian genocide never takes place, meaning that Armenians still live in eastern Anatolia. With the Freedom and Accord Party and not the CUP in charge, the nation decentralizes, giving more autonomy to the ethnic minorities like Greeks, Armenians, Kurds and Arabs, which would cause independence movements to decline. As the Central Powers were losing that, the Ottoman Empire joins and invades Bulgaria. After the war, they got West Thrace from Bulgaria. Since the Ottoman Empire doesn't join the Central Powers, Cyprus, Egypt and Sudan are still technically part of them. Furthermore, without the Khedivate of Egypt being dissolved, and Egypt not playing a role in the First World War, the Egyptian Revolution doesn't take place. In 1918, the Kuwait Treaty is signed. The Ottoman Empire gets Kuwait from the United Kingdom, and they get lands in the south of Arabia. The rest would be either annexed or more likely puppeted by the Ottomans. That puppet government is the Rashidi dynasty ruling Jebel Shamar in Hongil. The empire also modernizes throughout the 1920s and 1930s with British investments, who use a strong Ottoman Empire as a counterforce against the Soviets. The British also get oil rights from the empire like they did with Persia, and would form the Anglo-Ottoman Oil Company. In 1939, World War II still happens, and the Ottomans, like in our own timeline, stay neutral. They may exceed it by selling oil to both sides, although the Allies are far less dependent on these oil shipments. As the war turns against it, the Ottoman Empire gradually turns of its oil supply until after Bulgaria fell, they embargoed Germany and even declare war on them. In 1952, the Ottoman Empire, Greece, but also Armenia, Azerbaijan and Georgia joined NATO, and Ottoman influence in Armenia and Georgia would fade away as now the USA protects them. After the Second World War, many Jews migrate to Palestine, but a conflict would probably not happen as it is part of the Ottomans, but ethnic violence may happen in smaller numbers. Cyprus probably would go to the Ottoman Empire as it was technically a part of them until 1914. And the Khedivate of Egypt would be an Ottoman vassal again. Iran still becomes Islamist in a war with its western neighbor, here the Ottoman Empire instead of Iraq, and while Iran held a defensive line against Iraq, they get defeated by the Ottomans. The Ottoman Empire annexes Khuzestan, Lorestan and Kurdistan, and Azerbaijan, which also joined, got Iranian Azerbaijan. Furthermore, the Qajar dynasty was re-established, with Hamid Mirza Qajar being the Shah of the Sublime State of Iran, much to the annoyance of the House of Pahlavi, who just ruled Iran a few years ago. This is disastrous for Armenia, as now Azerbaijan is far more powerful, meaning it is impossible for them to reconquer Zanju and Karabakh. The Gulf War doesn't take place as the Ottoman Empire can't invade Kuwait as they literally own it. Since North Yemen doesn't exist, South Yemen probably instead joins Oman. There is also no Yemeni civil war as the areas that did rise up are under Ottoman rule. The war on terror likely still happens, but only against Afghanistan because the nukes the Ottomans have are American nukes in the Ottoman Empire. The United States would leave Afghanistan in 2011 around the same time they left Iraq in our own timeline, as the only reason they stayed for 10 more years is because they saw Iraq collapsing. And so they leave Afghanistan in 2011 and let it collapse. And since they left soon after Osama bin Laden got killed, it would be remembered as a victory. In 2009 they probably still formed the Organization of Turkic States together with Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan, with Hungary and Turkmenistan still being observer. It is possible that during the Arab Spring the Arabs rise up against the Ottoman Empire, but that would end in disaster as the Arabs probably split between liberals and Islamists and maybe even monarchists, and also because NATO helps the Ottoman Empire, and in a few years at most they would reconquer the Arab lands and exile the Hashemites in case they did rebel. Jebel Shamr may also have a civil war between Rashidists and Saudis. During the Arab Revolt, Egypt declared its independence and overthrew its monarch Abbas III, who fled into the Ottoman Empire in exile. After the war ended, Egypt did manage to stay independent, but it faces rebellions in the south of Sudan. It is a great power and rivals the hegemony of the Ottoman Empire. By now the Ottoman Empire is a big and strong empire, but the Arab Revolt destroyed lands in Syria, Mesopotamia and Hejaz, causing a mass migration to Europe, and their biggest enemies are Egypt, Russia and Greece may smell blood. They also have rising independence movements despite of federalizing. And just like in our own timeline, they fail to join the European Union. The empire is currently led by Osman IV, who is the son of Ali I and grandson of Ahmed IV. Its sultan is also the spiritual leader of Islam, as they are caliph, and the Ottoman Empire is with its vassal state in Jebel Shamr, the oil-richest county in the world. In this timeline, the Ottoman Empire still exists as a mediocre power. The Middle East is also more peaceful and has less straight borders, and the Southern Caucasus would not experience communism or genocide, while Iran wouldn't experience Islamism. In this timeline, Turkey is what nationalists and Wattafalthis dream of. If you liked the episode, leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe. Goodbye.